I'm the moderator. My name is Christina Kubisch, and I have the pleasure to announce you, or to present you, these wonderful colleagues, winners of the Golden Nika and the award. And it's, I hope I pronounce it right, Yoshi Kurokawa. Just, you know, it's him. And he defines himself as an audiovisual artist. Then we have Martin Bédard du Quebec from Canada. He is an electroacoustic composer. Martin. And we have André and Michel Dicoster. They are not twins, but they are brothers, and they even have a sister, which is not their manager, by the way. So these both brothers have made together a sound sculpture, and they're called sound sculptors. They define themselves as sound sculptors. They come from Switzerland. Okay. Before the three colleagues start to present their works, I just wanted to say something about the digital musics and sound art category. For the first time this year we had sound art, not only digital musics. And this is because I think sound today is almost everywhere when you have something visual. It's together with video, it's together with presentations, together with the internet, but it is too very present in site-specific sound installations, in machines which use sound, in compositions of all kinds, in so many different kinds that the word digital music was no more enough. And we had 615 applications, and it was completely interesting. It was so diverse. It's obvious that today it seems almost when you have music you need an image. But we as a jury try to base our judgment mostly on really the sound, because that's what it's all about. If you have followed these days at the Tabakfabrik, I guess you have seen a lot of things, and maybe you have heard something. And I just wanted before to explain or to describe one thing I experienced. It was yesterday, and yesterday was the birthday of John Cage. Now, I don't know if everyone knows John Cage. Some years ago, I think he was even more famous and known than today. But he was the, let's say, the father of many composers and sound artists who work really with sound. And in 1952, he composed a piece which is called 433. And it was just being on stage, a piano player, a piano, and the piece was composed in 3 movements. And he did not play. He was just coming on stage and then sitting there. Now, in the 50s, this was really something people, the public, could not understand. So they started to make sounds, they started to shout, they started even to come on stage, and all this was the piece. So what Cage actually started is that we consider a sound something which is worth to be listened to. And yesterday, when there was the first part of the concert, I don't think everyone was there, but it was in one of the factory halls, and there was a piece of Arvo Pärt with 2 pianos, and there was a big sign, silence please, but it didn't work, because everyone had these little paplat boxes which had to be folded together as seats. And it was very interesting because everyone tried to do it as silently as he could. And it was a big noise. It was a big, big noise because everyone was working on these seats and it was a little bit difficult to get them together. And suddenly the people listened to their own noise, to their own sounds. And very slowly it became quieter and quieter in this big, huge factory hall. There was no light, or almost no light, and people were sitting down. And then in the silence you could clearly hear the piano sounds. And it was a very magic, beautiful moment. So that's a very short introduction about what is sound. We said that we start with the 2 brothers. I don't know if you do it together or... And one will speak in German and one will speak in English. You have all the translations. And every presentation will be about 20 minutes. And afterwards you have time to put questions for about 10 minutes and then we go on.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, I would like to apologize because I don't speak German and my English is quite bad, but I will do my best. My brother and me are working together under the label Kodak for about 12 years. My brother Michel is an architect and plastician, and myself, André, is a musician and plastician. Our artistical language articulates itself around sound installation. We are developing and building machines which produce sound, often with a high degree of technology, and these machines are interactive. Some of them are operated by the public, others are operated by ourselves under the shape of performances, and one among them, Cycloid, works alone, producing music by itself. Until today, we created about 9 projects together. We inspire ourselves from sciences, and our ideas often come from observation of chemical, physical phenomena, and we try to understand the mechanism, and to extract an element which could be interesting to translate on a human scale and pass it after on the shape of public events. Our machines always produce sound and movements, and more and more, year after year, we try to improve their relationship, their harmony, to obtain the best fusion of them. Our first project was Krakow. You can see an image there. It was we were in Poland, in Krakow, and we gathered some images and sound. We made some chemical experiment on images and some analogical and digital treatment on sound, and we mix them on a performance with live music and a projection of images, slide effects.
Jetzt, ich werde auf Deutsch sprechen, das ist besser für mich.
I'll speak German, it's easier for me. The next project was similar to the first one. Again, a performance called Bach-Mendeleev 5 Test. It was an idea using the music of Bach and the work by Dmitri Mendeleev, a Russian chemist who developed the tables of the elements. So we used special machines. We used chemical experiments, showed them via slide projectors. So this was a performance. We used magnetic material on audio tape. There were a number of gadgets or devices that we had produced.
A kind of mechanical chain, mechanical production chain, and the idea was to create a musical works by filling buckets with shovel and sand. A little film. it was buckets full of holes, and the movement of the buckets were transmitted to a light projector. And the light hits some sensor which produces the music.
The next installation was an interactive installation. The public can use it. A travel through a brain. We produced a brain made of silicon resin, and we had a scanner that can move with the light. It's not a video. It's rather, something like a slide projection, and we play with the focus of different layers, and the visual information is contained in these different layers, and the sound depends on the speed of the movement and also on the localization in the brain. Here you can see the silicone body. We use a pneumatic system with pressurized air to make it move.
Next one is Silicnos 2, and we shifted a very massive rock of about 500 kilogram using some pulleys and cables, and we had a lot of sensor on our body, like the breath, the heart, the strength, and the idea was to reveal the micro sounds of our metabolism under the physical effort. sorry.
Die nächste ist ein bisschen anders.
The next performance was somewhat different. We had an invitation to a festival in Switzerland, a performance with 150 saxophone players in the street, in public space. And we created an organic body, so to speak. We wrote a piece. There were lots of loudspeakers in the street. So we had an interaction between the saxophone players and public space.
Then build some kind of gun, and we expelled missiles, and the sounds were created in according to the speed of the missiles.
Und da ist auch eine interaktive Installation. Und das
And this again is an interactive installation. Moses and Aaron, an opera by Arnold Schoenberg. The idea is that the audience not only hears the music but also has a physical experience. So he can control, or the audience can control the music with this cable. They can enter the opera. They play the role of the choir, that is the Israeli people in the opera. There are two loudspeakers representing the two prophets, Moses and Aaron. And there is a dialogue between the two singers.
Ja, das ist ein Projekt, das
This is a project which is work in progress, and we plan the premiere for next year. It's called Pendulum Cryo, a piece for 24 hydraulic cylinders and 9 soloists. Every singer stands on a platform, a hydraulic platform, which can tilt in all directions up to 45 degrees, and the score is for the musicians, the singers, and also for the hydraulic system. And now cycloid E. I think most of you will have seen it in the Klangraum. We won't go into any great detail. Just a few things about the origin of the project. The first idea came about because we worked a lot with pendulums, and we found that the movements of mechanical oscillators are very harmonious and beautiful. We had a pendulum with 5 joints, and that was the basis of our considerations. We thought, let's take the pendulum and make it horizontal. Here, gravitation is still effective. We replaced gravitation by a motor, so you get a chaotic movement, but it's always harmonious. And we thought, well, that would make a super musical instrument. We then developed a model that moved very fast. This was the first step. And on that basis, we developed the final piece or system.
A sound system in relation, on the one hand, with the materiality of the machine, the aluminum tubes, and on the other hand, with its specific movement. And the cadence and the amplitude of the movement can change very, very speedily, but they always stay very harmonic. And for us, it was imperative to create, to find a musical system in relation to this harmony. And we create a kind of spectral tone system. And for it, we recorded some short traces of acoustic instruments. We analyzed them, and in each segment of the arm, there are 40 oscillators which rebuild the sound in relation to the speed and the strength of the movement. And what was interesting for us with this system, it was that it's possible to use not all the harmonic, but only a small range, or it's possible to modify the parameters of the harmonic, and always in relation to this movement. The analysis of the sound.
Okay, das war's eigentlich.
Well, this was it. We tried to be brief, but I hope the pictures illustrated what we were trying to tell you. I don't know, are there any questions?
Preparation for this very complex work, and it's really what we consider Swiss work. It's precise, it's perfect, it's full of complexity, and it's high quality. But I wanted to ask you one question before. In the first works you did, there's always a sound which moves, and there's always you as a person which moves. But in this new work, there's a machine which substitutes your physical presence. So what happened? Are you tired from being a performer, or are you getting older, or do you want to have a change? J'ai demandé, I'm the French translator, translating machine, so just for a moment. J'ai demandé, vous avez toujours fait des choses avec les performances et avec votre présence physique, mais maintenant, pour la première fois, vous devez faire une machine. Et comment ça? Vous n'avez plus envie de faire la performance, peut-être
Ja, das ist richtig, das ist ist nicht falsch, aber
Well, actually, it was a coincidence. We love doing performances. It's important for us to control our machine by ourselves and to use it ourselves. But and the presence of humans is very important. But we then decided we wanted to produce a sculpture. It may have been a coincidence. The next work or piece already includes humans, and then perhaps there will be another performance. There's no rule for that. Well, any questions, or was this too complex? Okay, then I would like to ask another question, and I have many questions. You talked a lot about sounds, sounds that move. You talked about the production of sounds, the generation of sounds, but I haven't heard anything about the composition yet, how to arrange the sounds, what are the criteria as to how they sound in space. Is there a specific sequence? There will be translation from French into English or German or whatever. Well, we always think about what type of machine is, what type of space is it, what structure is moving. So we are really trying to find the appropriate structures for every piece. There's no specific compositional language. Rather, we develop the sound structure for each and every piece. Fine. If there are no further questions, thank you very much to the two artists.
So, als nächstes haben wir jetzt Ryuichi, also erstmal hat er die Goldene Nika gewonnen, das wissen Sie alle inzwischen, und ich denke, Sie haben auch alle die Arbeit gesehen im Magazin im 2. Stock. Und er hat auch etwas vorbereitet, und wir haben eine Übersetzerin, die ein bisschen vermitteln wird vom Japanischen ins Englische, glaube ich. Und ja, bitte. Me to do your biography.
Ja.
Er hatte mich gebeten, seine Biografie kurz zu erklären. He asked me to do his biography very shortly. Sorry for the languages. Okay, as I do it in English now. So he was born in 1978 and in Japan, and his works takes on multiple forms, such as installation work, as recordings, as concerts. I think you are performing tonight. Yeah, he's doing a sound performance tonight. And so he doesn't consider himself a multimedia artist, but an audiovisual artist. He has been showing recently in international festivals like the Transmediale in Berlin, like the Tate Modern in Great Britain, and like Sonar in Spain.
So this work, Well 5000, is an audiovisual installation that is composed of multi-channel sound and video. One of my main interests is the effect by the audio-visual combination and how it works on human sensory receptors such as visual or auditory perceptions. With this in mind, I construct the time sculpture with the audiovisual languages. Basically, I used the sound and video in my works. I consider these image and sound as one unit, and I integrate these elements into as an art format, such as concert piece, installation, screening, and theater piece as well. So now, for this installation, I have previously completed a concert piece with the same title, Rail, that I will perform tonight. And I extend the components from this concert piece, and I develop these elements into the insertion version. So this is the photo of the concert version. The concert piece, Leo, is composed of 3 screens and surround sound. Contrary to the installation, it has the beginning and ending, it takes like a cinematic way. So the audience could maybe make own story as a script. And with this concert piece, the audience must be inside of the sweet spot of the surround sound. The term rail is mean to flow or to stream in Greek word. And this concept is just kind of for this work. I don't mean to restrict the viewer's impression something. So now about the insertion work. And I create some insertion work before this Real 5 versions. I will show you some sample of my audiovisual work here. And first, this is a very simple setup installation with 3 screens and a 5.1. And this has a very simple setup, but it became my kind of basic idea for my layer works. So let me show you. of course, but at the same time, they are synthesized in time, so we can see the sound and image at the same time in this space. And then I got our proposal from the San Francisco-based Recombinant Media Labs that has to create instructional work that has a 10 surround cinema space, 10 screen, and 8.2 and 16.2 surround sound system. So let me show. So this environment surrounded by the audiovisual could provide me to emphasize the audiovisual motion or behavior or something. And last sample called Seleucus. This is also composed of 3 screens and 5.1, but I gave the depth and z-axis in it, and for this z-axis we can control more freely the sound and video. This synesthesia is also my theme of my artistic production. The simultaneous stimulation to all perception could provide a deeper sensation, like a synesthetic experience. It could be possible to more define the tone, color, texture, speed, many things, by using the other organs of sense. In general, the spatial cognition of sound is very inaccurate. We recognize the space through the sight, and in this work, real five presence, by being synthesized with the move of images, we can, the cognition of the sound can be enhanced. So this is real 5 horizons. This is composed of flat panel display and multi-speakers. 5 audiovisuals are controlled by 6 network connected PC, and each vertically long imagery pair with each mono-channel sound, and each video is synchronized to each audio. They are juxtaposed in line, and they behave as 5 independent audiovisual apparatuses. It's like an orchestral composition. By being synthesized, as I mentioned, the movement of the image, the spatial cognition of the sound can be enhanced. So that is the behavior of image indicates the sonic drive, sonic movement, position, direction. And that provides the space to recognize the sonic movement or the relationship between sound and ego. And I create this time sculpture of sound and image in 8-minute loops. Nature shows us various transitions. I attempt to incorporate that regularity and the beauty that constructing the nature into the digital. The combination of art and technology provide us with a wider range of imagination or new kind of discovery. I aim at converting into art format the energy, the power or the dynamics that nature has. So around here, I can just like this. Okay. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Ricci. And now I hope there are some questions to this very complex work. What is this crowd? I mean, okay, fine. You can have a microphone and...
Hello. I'm wondering if you're doing any work or planning to do any work in 3D or IMAX? In 3D or in IMAX visualization? Well, 3-dimensional.
Three-dimensional?
Yes.
In future something.
In the future, or?
I want to use that, but unfortunately I don't have some skill for the moment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Andreas Weixler. I'm a composer. And I have a technical question to your 5 elements. I see the audio and the video is synchronized. And is it on one media, and did you synchronize 5 media? Or is it one media and you split up in 5? And how do you synchronize it?
It doesn't. I don't use the new technology. I mean, some synchronization system or something. I have just an idea before creating, and I realize it with the PC. So that's all. I can explain something.
Yeah, the artist work I appreciate very much. The development is clear. But I mean, really technically, is it just 5 DVD player and you make
No, I use
start them, or how do you synchronize it?
Use some programming for synchronizing, but yeah.
So it's 5 elements and you
Yes,
synchronize them.
exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Very nice.
Is there any more questions? Yes, please.
I like to know how you start your work. Do you start with the sound, or do you start with a picture, or what is triggering you?
For the images.
Yeah, is in the beginning, before you start, do you have a picture, or is it a sound, a tune in your mind, or?
Actually, at the same time, I have an idea of audiovisual, not only sound, not only video.
It comes together.
No.
Okay.
Okay, then I can put a question to you. Is there someone? I can't see it from here. Please.
Hi, I was just wondering what software you're using in all of that stuff.
Software?
Yep.
For the installation, I use Maxim SP. For the installation, I mean, for
creating the sound, for creating the visuals, for
I use many softwares, so not just only one.
Yeah, sure. Just, but I guess what I'm really wondering is, are they commercial softwares, or are they ones that you've made yourself, or are they?
I do not understand your
Are
question.
they commercial commercial software, or
Yeah, I use
homemade
also commercial
software,
software.
or homemade software?
Both. I use
Okay.
both.
Okay.
You want to know the secrets?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Of course, yeah. More questions about technical procedures? No? Please. Können Sie das Mikrofon hier?
I'd like to ask you about your strategies, how putting this material into a performance, how you build up your dramaturgic development in a performance.
Sorry.
Die Frage war nicht ganz klar jetzt. Vielleicht nochmal stellen. Also,
Sie müssen Deutsch sagen, vielleicht.
ja, vielleicht auf Deutsch sagen, dann kannst du das übersetzen auf Japanisch.
Ja, es hätte mich interessiert, wie der Ablauf einer
So, how do you build a performance from this aesthetic material? How do you build a performance from your installations?
Well, we have a kind of language problem now because maybe you try just to come to the point and put your question once more, please, in English, because she didn't get it in German.
Yeah. I'd like to know about your dramaturgic developments in the performances. Like how you develop your timelines when you do a performance. About is it spontaneous or is it completely pre-produced?
So you do not mean now the installations, but the real live performances. Okay.
You mean the difference between the concert work and such? But at first the structure is completely different because for the concert piece I use 3-screen and surround sound, and it has beginning and an end, and it's more long and it's like a cinematic way. So it's kind of maybe you feel some kind of story, but I don't have story. But maybe you can have it with the concert version. But for the installation version, I don't have some flux. It's already always the same flux. So this is the difference, maybe, I think. And of course, I control the surround sound for the concert version, but for the installation, no, it's just play it.
So this means you can improvise during the performance, or you have a fixed timeline?
For the images, or
in the performance?
If you improvise in the performance?
No, it's not improvised, because I used some prepared material and I mixed them in real time, so not generate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. So may I maybe put my question, and then we have our last part. I was interested in your relationship to nature, Ryochi, because it was said that you used field recordings, your images show some natural parts. How is your work structured? I mean, when it's a nice day like today, do you say, oh, I capture my microphones, go out and record the birds, or I do some filming, or do you sit all day at the computer and just Google your sounds? I mean, where do you get your material from?
I go out to record some material, but before the recording, I have a concrete idea. I need which kind of sound I need, so I have to go to some specific space to get the sound exactly what I need. So.
But then you will never find the sounds you cannot imagine, which you don't know. I mean, where's the experiment?
Yeah, from the nature we can get something like that. So.
I mean, do you sometimes risk something in your work that you say, I'm not sure how it will work out, but I will just try?
Yeah.
Or is everything perfectly organized?
Sometimes I get this kind of thing, but usually I just obey my rule from the beginning. So.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Last part, and this part is the pure sound. The other day I was asked by a radio reporter, and it was meant in a positive way, how it comes in the Ars Electronica you still have these kind of academic pieces which are just sound and just composition for speakers. I think that Martin can answer better to this question, but it is a general question which I would like to have as maybe a discussion afterwards as well. How much pictures do we need today for sound? Are we still able to listen to something without seeing something? Even yesterday, at some moments of the concerts, people were looking around and it seems like they were looking for the pictures going with it, and then there was nothing, they were confused. Have we really forgotten just to listen because we have so many images around us? Or this is very obvious questions, but I think it's questions which are very important if we consider sound or music or composition as something old-fashioned because it has no other environment around. And I think this is the entry for you, Martin, to start your work.
Is it possible to close a little bit the line? Just a little bit?
The line is really very disturbing. Maybe you see less of us and listen better. He is more relaxed when there's
Thank
not
you.
so much light. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Martin Bedar. I'm electroacoustic composer. Yes, I work only with sound. Today I will speak with you about the Chantefouille excavation is my piece, but I want to speak in two steps. The first step is I will explain my general approach by composition, and after I will speak about the pieces, some points specifically. But just before to start, I think it's important if perhaps someone don't listen to pieces, I want to speak about my music. I think it's better to listen some extracts of the piece. The duration of the piece is 11 minutes, but I have made a very fast 2-extract remix in my hotel room yesterday, and today we listened 5 minutes just to have a feeling of the pieces. Okay, it's the first extract. First of all, I will speak about my general approach in electroacoustic. I work in 4 steps. The first steps is very often I go outside to record a sound, but I go in studio too to have different very pure sound. The important thing for me in this step is when you go out, we record sound, but we record something around the sound. We record a different kind of space, and for me, electroacoustic music, one of the key words is space. Not only space in the software when we distribute the sound around us, but the space is in the sound. I go out, I record a sound in a parking, in water, in forest, in the city. Each place have a very proper acoustical, and this space is very important for me because in my pieces I put sound together. I think it's electroacoustic, but I put space together too. And if I mix different kind of space, I made the addition of 1, 2, 3, 4 space. I create a new space at the end. And this space doesn't exist, but it's a mix of many, many, many space. I record the sound, that's it. I go outside in studio. And the important for me is the keywords is space. After the second step, I must, the editing of everything of this stuff, I select different sound for two things. For anecdotal and poetical on reference of the sound. Okay, when I listen this sound, perhaps for many people and for me, when I listen this sound, I have a special signification. But I'm a composer, I made music, and music it's made with material. If I compare my work with instrumental composer, these people have harmony, melody, instrument, and they have organization with very specific characteristical. And for me, it's the same thing. In the extract you have listened, I have a sound of train. This train is a train, perhaps, but if you don't recognize the train, this sound has some characteristic very important. Conception of freedom, inner the sound, harmony by the steel of resonance, and these characteristics are important for me because I extract it and I work with it for the rest of the piece. And after during this step of transformation of sound too, it's important for me to have to save and to create my own treatment. I use commercial software, but it's important for me to save my own preset because I keep the treatment and I have the sound, and it's possible for me to make in my treatment many different sounds. The sounds are different, but treatment is similar. It's possible for me to connect very different sounds together by the effect. The other thing for me in the composition electroacoustic is the notion of orchestration. It's possible to put sound together, not only put sound together, but put sound together like the traditional orchestration, like symphonist Stravinsky or name it. I have not respect, it's not the good word, but I have interest to the occupation of spectral thing, different sound with different place in the register, to have a very rich orchestration, to have a very interesting complex of sound, but to don't have problem with mask or very confused resonance. This notion of orchestration is interesting to create very big mass or very interesting texture. And the last step, the fourth step, is the notion of montage. It's very near of the cinematographic approach, but I'm a fan of all the Russian movie. You have some cinematographer like Vertov or Eisenstein. The montage is a very, very old thing, 100 years ago, but the notion, this notion to put things together, to write sentence, word, sentence, punctuation with image or with sound. In the first extract, you have a very vertical music, it's many articulation. The notion of montage is very important for me. The notion of montage in a very small object, to create very small, complex object, or the montage in the big notion of time, long notion of time during the work. It's interesting to create form, to have interest to the planification of the work. That's my 4-point interest when I work with every work I made. Champ de fouilles excavation is in French is a cut figure, but it's an example of my other works. I doesn't speak about my other work. I will only speak with these pieces. Champ de fouilles excavation is the translation of the title. It's a commission from Quebec City when I was born. It's a small city in Canada, French part of Canada. They have made a commission to the 400th anniversary of the city. My own aesthetic is not a documentary aesthetic, is not radio art. I think the extract, it's more plastic work. I like to work with the material. I like to articulate the sound. And when I received this project, it's a little bit far of my preoccupation. But it was a challenge, and after this project, I have learned many things. And the thing very important for me, it was, okay, I have a piece to make, and the people of this city must recognize some element, because it's for the city. And I don't want to make something very anecdotal or very audio photographic. And I have run and recorded many sounds in the city, and after I decide to extract very symbolic, important sound for the people of this city. The train station, it's a very central place near the city. Many people live downtown, listen many times during the night this kind of sound. And the other sound you don't have listened it because it's not in the excerpt, but it's you have a migration of birds. One time by year you have 1,000 birds pass over the city, and all people listen this bird during 2 weeks. And in these pieces I have put this sound. But I don't put the sound immediately in the pieces. It's important for me to take the sound and pass it in my 4 steps that I talked a few minutes ago, to transform it, to give this sound some very characteristical plastical qualities, to be very easy to connect with the other stuff. And for me it's a preoccupation now to make music, pure sound music, but to have in second step or third step, to have some windows of reality, to have some ghosts of reality. Oh, I recognize something, but oops, it's closed, and we return with the abstraction of sound. I take a few minutes to listen it's the last part of the pieces. The pieces is in 2 parts, but it's this kind of écriture is more horizontal. It's more contemplative with drone. And just before the extract, during my visit of the city, I realized I see excavation. Many archaeological people make excavation in the city, and I see how they work. And I have a small revelation for the conception of my pieces, because the reality is on the surface. I see, okay, everywhere around me is the reality, and more you go down on earth, the material is very rare. And I made research, and the city was found in 1608. It's very young for you in European, but for in America it's very old. And I realized in my research that the composer Monteverdi have made Orfeo is the same date in Italy. And I have a flash like in my country in 608 it was nothing. It was only 3 in Indian, and during in Italy it was a summit of the creation of the Renaissance of music. And I pick up some resonance of Monteverdi, and all the harmonic pitch of the pieces is made by this consonant chord. That's you have listened, the impact with harmonization has come it's just conceptual for me, but it's like a sustain. You connect idea, and after you make your pieces. that's a connection that I've made to build it. Now we listen the end of the pieces with this kind of harmony. You have the train very far and you have the harmony together. It's a contemplative part. That's the end of the pieces, and you listen in this extract. It's a simple example, but you have the harmony of the texture of Monteverdi, very stretched. You have the sound of train, the metallic steel train pitch with the harmony, and you have the space of the train station opening and the train go far away. I have mixed the space, the pitch of the sound, to create evocative but to musical harmony construction too. That's it.
But thank you very much. That was a good in-look into your way of working and composing. I have listened to your piece now 4 times. The first time was at the jury session, and it was in a very small room, sitting on a table, being terribly tired with small speakers, but still it could convince the jury. Then I heard the second version, which is installed in the magazine on several floors, and it has become a piece for electroacoustic music and banging doors. It's all the time. Then I have heard it yesterday night in the courtyard with huge speakers and many people walking and talking and doing whatever they wanted. And now I have listened to it in complete concentration. in a quite large place, which is still resonating a little bit. Now, my question is, if you are a classical composer and you have made a piece for orchestra, then of course you come and they're all on it. If you rehearse with the orchestra and then people come in and sit there like you now and stay silent and applause and so on. But if you have a piece which is just on tape or is just digitally stored, and I know it from my own experience, they say, oh, why do you want to come? I mean, send us the data and we fix it. So do you think it's just a lack of respect or not understanding what we are doing? Or is it that a series of speakers is not considered as important as a series of violin players?
It's a big question. I think many people, all the electroacoustic composer have this question about the concert, about it's strange to present music only with speaker, without performer. But I think first of all, when I compose this music, I am with a special context. I am with a context. I work alone with the sound. I have no eyes attraction, and I have no problem with eyes conception with music. It's not, but I think it's a question of context. This music must to be present in some context, but some attitude to the listener too. I think it's perhaps in this kind of now the creation is very immersion. You have very multimedia together, and perhaps for this kind of music we need the listener to make an effort, because we must to concentrate our attention only on one thing. But perhaps it's old music now, electroacoustic music with Mr. Schäfer, and it's very old. But I think the innovation is not perhaps not with the media or the material, the incarnation of the art, but I think it's in the matter to put the sound together, to create new form. It's very pretentious to say invented new form, but this, I think that it's inner the connection of sound. It's possible to make innovation and to give the sound different kind of matter, to make revelation, poetical, aesthetical, and plastical, absolute. But that's it. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. I think it was a really good answer. And is there anyone in the public who has questions? Okay.
Hiya. Just following on a little from what Christina was saying about the different ways that we've all heard your music this weekend. How much of the listener can you and maybe some of the other panelists also build into the composition? How much do you need to control the reception of it, and how much can you leave behind?
Bon, elle a dit quand tu fais sortir les pièces, comment tu dois penser avec la personne qui écoute et comment c'est indépendant de ça. Do you mean when he is composing or when the piece is performed? Both, tous les deux.
I take it. Okay. It's dangerous to have reflection about the listener when you compose, because if you made music, okay, I want to make music by these people or this kind of crowd, you imagine many things. I think it's perhaps dangerous. I think it's better to be very near of our project, but I'm very sensitive. I'm a listener too. Because when I'm a composer, I'm not completely disconnected. I'm a listener to, okay, perhaps I have some years of experience, but each time I listen short extract of my pieces 1,000 times when I compose it each time. But is it beautiful for me? I am touched by this sound. And the problem, sometimes it's okay don't be too touched by your own thing. Construct it. Your job is to build the music. Don't just be touched by your sound. But sometimes I'm a human. You live your music too, and okay, I think it's a beautiful part. I'm happy to listen it. I hope someone will be happy. I touched by this sound. It's an evocation for me. It's beautiful for me. I live an experience with the audio. I hope to the people will live it. And but it's a marginal creation. The meeting with the public is very small. We have concerts, but it's strange thing to me. In joke, I have said yesterday I'm a pre-Colombian electroacoustic composer. No, but you are in the very modern festival, and you are a little bit old in your creation. But when you are outside with the people, you are a very weird creator, and you don't find a place to say, okay, everybody is happy to listen it. And just that's it. I think it's important to we are a listener, but we are a creator, and depending which game we play, we don't have the same ears, because I want to put in my music some not innovative thing, but I want to take some risk, because I want to meet something I never do, and I want it's a research for me, but for you it's not a research, it's an experience, it's a new experience. I think I want to live this too, and for the performance it's different thing. If I know where I go with my pieces, I have a sonorization for the place. My interpretation is not the same thing. I planify how I want to give my pieces. It's very particular for each pieces and each place where I go. And that's it. It's important to planify this, because that's it.
Well, thank you. So just music and what a big world behind. And you're very talented to explain that, I must say. Is there any more questions?
Well, when I heard your piece, I actually thought it was composed to be played in a stair, because it sounds like something is falling down. So I was wondering, how did you find this place, the stairs? Did you choose it, or did someone say, let's put it here, or did you compose it for a stairway? Or
No. Because I'm very happy of the festival. It's perfect like this. But the festival said, okay, Martin, we want your piece in the exhibition, but we have one place, and the place is the stairs. Oh, I think I've composed it. This is not the stairs music, but. It's okay, and they said I think it's possible to do something, and we have tried, but the stairs is a transit place. But the sound of the door are very beautiful. Talk, I like it, but it's not. It's a place of transition, and my music is not. I think it's not made for transition. You must take 10 minutes, you sit, you listen. You don't like, you like. It's boring, it's very I'm touched, whatever. But you must take the time to understand the project. And it's a project with a very important timeline and structuration. If you pass just 30 seconds and you listen, or it's okay, it's interesting, you close the door, and I think it's the problem of the place. I think if we have only a place like here, and the piece play in repetition, you take a very cool place, you listen it during 10 minutes like a movie, like animation movie place, and you live the intimity of the pieces. I think it's a good solution. But in this case, with the festival, I think it's more a showroom for my piece. You pass, you listen, hey, interesting, not interesting, oh, the name of the guys, I check in the program, I'm interested, perhaps I will say, hey, have you a piece, send me an MP3, or something like that. It's just, you touch the piece, and after, it's an evocation. But usually, it's more due for a concert hall. with a loudspeaker orchestra, and you made the specialization, you are in the center of the pieces, the people is around you, and you listen the pieces with the diffusion of the composer, and it's like an Emax for the ears. You live the experience of space because it's possible to put sound at different kind of space, and I made a relief of my piece in space. But here it's more an exposition to make a first contact with this kind of work.
Okay. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, our time is over. Is there a very urgent question? Otherwise, you have the chance certainly to talk to Martin afterwards. Okay. I think it was very interesting to see these 3 different works because it's 3 ways of considering digital musics and sound installation, sound art. And though the works are very different, there's something in common. One is considering space as a kind of architectural or sculptural quality. The second one is that when there is an image, it is very closely related to the sound. It's not just that you do a video and then say, oh, it needs a sound, and put something behind it. And the third thing is that you always need a very concentrated situation to experience these works, as you do mostly for any artwork. Today we have that kind of fashion that we have big screens, a lot of music, we can go around, we can smoke, we can eat, we can do this and that. And that's a way to experience it. I mean, even in Mozart's time when people went to the opera, they were bringing their food and they were doing all kind of other stuff, not only listening to Mozart. But if the artist wants his work to be experienced this way, I think it's very important then to follow his wish and not consider it just as something extravagant. And unfortunately still, we very often as sound artists have this situation. I'm very happy that the Terminus Sound Art has come now to the Ars Electronica because, as I said, it's the very first year we have this. And it's due to a jury member who thought that there were so many people who would not apply because it was only called digital musics. I think the whole world of sound and of the visuals, of all the audiovisual work will still develop enormously. But the main thing is really the concentration, not only on the eye, but on the ear. Thank you.